That's 80 turns. What we're looking for is whether we get a rising flight as opposed to just the glide that we had just now. Whoa! Yeah, we had a rising flight.
Hi guys, rubber band power time. Got a request to do a rubber band powered aeroplane. Well, back in 2013 I think it was, I made some gliders from styrofoam plates like these and a wooden coffee stirrer from the coffee shop, and they fly quite nicely. In fact, the other day I made one the opposite way round as a canard. Anyway, then somebody asked if I could do a rubber band powered one, so I'll make another one if I can find another coffee stirrer, and we'll make it rubber band powered. I did do rubber band powered versions of this back in 2013 or whatever it was, so it should work. I think this coffee stirrer looks pretty straight, so it ought to do the job. It is worth checking if you do go and pick one up. They do have a tendency to be quite warped. Right, the original plane more or less designed itself. The dimensions, or the length of the wing, is just the maximum distance you can get out of the flat bit in the middle of the plate. So you need a couple of them. The cord is about 2.5 inches. As for front to back, well, we might have to modify that as we go along. At the moment, the tail starts about 1/4 inch from the back of the coffee stirrer. Tail is about just over 1 inch cord. In fact, I think it happens to be the width of this ruler, yes. So it's about 1 1/8, 1 inch and 1/8 of an inch. 1 1/8 inches long. Gap between the tail and the wing is another 2.5 inches. So whatever's left is the length of the nose. So what I do is I cut the outer edge off of the dish or plate. Does this classify as a dish or a plate? Right. Some people who copied my original design actually included the edges of the plate there, or the dish, as the tip dihedral, and that seemed to work. So you had dihedral for the main wing, and then you had that extra little bit sticking up on the tip. So if you're planning to copy what I'm doing, just bear in mind that's another option. It gives you a little bit more wingspan, so a little bit more lifting area. Now I'm only planning to use this indoors. If you happen to have a nice training gym or hallway or something like that where you've got a bit more space, then you might be able to try it over a bigger area, bigger distance. We get about 6 inches roughly, because you lose a little bit because of the curve, but if we go across there, the other one to be the other way up because they've got a bit of a curve to them, so we want them to match. Two and a half inches, I said, which is going to be there. And there. Ideally, you'd have a nice straight edge so you could get it straight. I use that as the long edge. Right, so that's our 2 wings. I measured about 3/4 of an inch back, I think. Let's do that again. Yeah, 3/4 of an inch back. We're going to put a fold in it to give us a bit of a airfoil section. So score a line with the pen. Fold it up. Okay, that actually cracked a little bit. You could put some sticky tape along there, that will strengthen it. Three-quarters of an inch back. Yeah, this one seems to be a little bit more brittle than the ones I used the other day. I think I will put some sticky tape along there just to reinforce that bend. You also need to just cut in there a tiny little bit up to where the fold is to allow for the dihedral. When it tilts up like that, it matches. Got a couple of wide tape rolls here, just under 2 inches, about 1 7/8 inches. Yeah, they're both the same. I'm going to use them for my dihedral measurements. Right, we're about 1.5 inches back from the tip. It's where the wings start on the old plane, hot glue. I'm not giving it any extra angle of incidence or anything. I'm not tipping them up or down. I'm just putting them on straight. Okay, that's our dihedral sorted. The tail, so it's about the width of my ruler, which is 1 1/8 of an inch. Uh, 5 inches long. Looks about right. Yeah, I think that looks about right. Okay, that's our basic glider. Now for the propeller, I'm going to use a design from Science Toy Maker. I'll put a link in the video description. So rather than sit here and make it, you might have to go to his video. We will see a bit more detail of this in a minute. I just thought I'd show you what I've done here. This little contraption here set up, that's copying Science Toy Maker's propeller setup. There's a bit more to add yet. I thought I'd just show you. I've cut a bit of scrap wood here with a little bit of down thrust on it, which at the moment is pointing up because we've got it upside down. Super glued it in place along with the plastic tube that goes for the propeller. Wrapped it round with ordinary cotton and then put more super glue on it, and also a little bit of baking powder I used to make the super glue set and give us quite a rigid setup there. So that's our propeller assembly. I'll just show you a little bit of the propeller build. Cut these from a plastic bottle. These are Q-tip or cotton bud tubes. I've split the end. Science Toy Maker's design. Didn't get that very good. Okay. Like that. Trim them off. Okay, so I've got 2 of them. Just trim the corners off the propellers. And then these go into this plastic tube here. I've actually made this slightly smaller than his design because his was for something a little bit different. And then you can adjust the pitch of your propeller. That's clearly wrong at the moment. By gently twisting that around. Next thing we need to do is decide where we're going to have the hook at the back. There's no point in putting it all the way at the back because that'll upset the balance. I'm going to put it so it's about equal distance from there to there, there to there. In fact, we ought to be doing it to the centre of gravity. Well, it's ready, all up together. I used a pin for the hook at the back there, just hot glued it in place. Now I've done no trimming and no balancing yet, so no idea how we're going to go. I will just wind it up so we can see it works, or at least so that we can see the propeller turning. Because it'd be very easy for the test flight to be its last flight, because we're going to be doing it indoors, so it'll probably bash into things. What is our balance like? Well, at the moment the balance is about there, about 1/3 of the way back on the wing. But then we've done no trimming. I suppose I ought to give it a test glide and see what that does. Right, a test glide, just to see what happens. Well, that was rather nice. So we're only using a very short rubber band. And it's a cheap rubber band, not hobby grade rubber. That's 80 turns. What we're looking for is whether we get a rising flight as opposed to just the glide that we had just now. Whoa! Yeah, we had a rising flight. Without putting any more turns on it, I'll just let it carry on. No, that's just 40 turns. I'll point it down. Yeah. Well, if we wanted to do a loop, we did a loop.
Well, we've got it flying. It probably would do better outdoors or in a big hallway, but it works. So I'm pleased with that. Rubber band powered aeroplane.